If you looked up lie in the dictionary, your picture is next to it. I'm telling you right now. And the worst part about it is now that the baby is not yours, see, somebody like you think you got off the hook. So it's not gonna stop you. The court's gonna provide resources for you because you need it.
Mr. Brown presents his case before Judge Lauren, claiming that his supposed daughter, Amira Brown, is not his. He adds that he suspects that Amira belongs to Jonathan Fowler, whom Brown had caught sleeping with his wife, Whitney McKinney, on camera. Meanwhile, McKinney can only hope that Amira's Brown's. Her words, not mine.
I just hope that he's the father of Amira Brown.
Hope that he is.
Yes.
So are you saying that you really don't know, but you truly hope?
Yes.
Okay, that's why we're here. Mr. Brown,
Yes, Your
you do not believe you're Amira's biological father?
No, I do not, because when she was born, she did not look like me. And I waited, I gave it time to see how she would look, and more every day that I look and take pictures with Amira, she has his face, and it bothers me a lot.
So you feel Amira looks like the man you saw on the sex tape with your wife?
Yes, I do.
Right, the tape. It's kind of wild to have seen a video of your wife being intimate with another man. In such situations, even if the baby in question looks like you, the hurt of seeing that video would make you doubt the paternity of that baby. But in Brown's case, he claims that the baby does not look like him one bit, and feels that Amira looks like the other man. How did Brown come across the said tape?
Well, one day the girls, they like snatching her phone, so they grabbed her phone. Before they could even get into the video, I grabbed it and it pressed play, and I seen the beginning of the video, and I didn't see what I liked, so I just disclosed it. I didn't watch the whole video.
The video came up, or you went looking to see what was in her phone?
They were scrolling through her pictures, whatever, and before they could even get to it, I grabbed the phone.
Oh, because you knew it was something inappropriate.
Yeah, it didn't look right. It didn't look right. It looked like a video, so, I clicked on it. I didn't like what I seen, and I disclosed it.
Miss McKinney, how do you end up with another man doing a sex tape?
I mean, at the time, me and Mr. Brown was off and on.
How did you meet the other man?
I met him on a dating website. We started talking online.
Whoa, that's a lot. Now, the man, Jonathan, was brought into the courtroom because, at this point, he was most definitely needed. So, in the court, Jonathan was asked to give a quick rundown of how he met McKinney. Here is what he said.
I met her the ending of 2015 going to 2016.
So, this is my question.
Sure.
What did she say? Who did she say Mr. Brown was?
She never told me. She said that she just got out of a relationship and that they was done.
All right, so you started having unprotected sex with Miss McKinney.
Yes.
And you all had sex all of 2016.
Correct.
When did you find out she was pregnant?
Well, me and Miss McKinney met up, and she told me she was pregnant in June of 2017, summer.
Okay.
Yes.
Man, this just keeps getting messier. Meanwhile, when McKinney's husband, Brown, found out she was pregnant, it didn't occur to him at the time that the pregnancy might not be his. But all of a sudden, when McKinney had complications with Amira's birth, Brown claims that he started having paternity doubts. In fact, he didn't sign the birth certificate because of this, as he kept questioning why the baby looked different.
That Amira, I said, hey, when I was born, I was pale. But wait, look at her lip. Why does her lip look so fat? That's not my lip. My lip does not look like that. Oh, no, it does not. So from that time in, I put it in my head, I'm like, wait, okay. If she's not mine, then she gotta be Mr. Jonathan's child, because she started looking more and more like him. And then you had people inboxing her saying, oh, that's not your husband's baby.
Your Honor.
It doesn't look like
Your
him.
Honor.
So, and my family was saying that she looks like me because my deceased father that passed away, they said that Amira has my dad's head shape.
Brown is a character. The questioning continues, and the judge asks Jonathan about the last time he and McKinney were sexually intimate, to which he responds that it was a year before Amira was born. Going by that, it's not possible that Amira is his, which then begs the question, why did McKinney tell him that she was pregnant? Here is what she had to say about it.
So why did you tell Mr. Fowler you were pregnant at all if this had
I told both of them
ended?
I was pregnant, but he didn't know I was pregnant before he found.
But why? I mean, if it's over with him and it's done, why? If you hadn't been with him for an entire year, he's out of the picture. Why tell him you're pregnant?
I have no clue.
You just decided I'm gonna call and tell Mr. Fowler I'm pregnant?
Yes.
There's something you're not saying. So, Mr. Brown, now that you hear the testimony that Mr. Fowler says that it was a year earlier, an entire year, when they broke it off and the relationship was done.
Exactly. Plus, what's all that poker face for when she is clearly in the wrong? Just like Brown said, something definitely isn't right. Despite Fowler's testimony, which rules him out, Brown still doesn't believe that Amira is not Fowler's, all thanks to McKinney's shifty attitude. Either way, the dust of this uncertainty can only be cleared with a DNA test. Let's see how that goes.
Mr. Fowler, you are not the father.
Thank you. Thank you. I really appreciate you. Thank you.
He's not the father, Mr. Brown.
Okay, I was like to say I apologize. I apologize.
I'll accept your apology.
Thank you, Mr. Brown.
You're welcome, Your Honor.
Jerome, I'm ready for the next envelope, please.
Well, that completely rules out Mr. Fowler as the baby daddy. Unknown to McKinney, the court also did a DNA test on Brown to determine if he was Amira's daddy. I mean, everyone would also want to know where Brown lies in that aspect. But McKinney didn't see it coming when Judge Lauren asked the court's officer Jerome for the next envelope. Take a look at this.
Mr. Brown, you are not the father. Miss McKinney? McKinney, are you okay? Jerome, help her. Jerome, help her. Jerome will help you up, Miss McKinney, and I want you to sit in the chair.
I want you to come up.
Someone call the medic, please.
Whoa, I did not see that coming. But why is she crying though? Is it that she desperately hoped that Brown was Amira's father despite having multiple sexual partners within the window of Amira's conception? I don't know what to call this. However, the most shocked one is Brown, who I think had some hope that Amira would be his after Fowler was ruled out.
What are you feeling in this moment?
I'm actually shocked. Neither one of us is dead. I'm just like, wow.
I need to ask you, do you know who her father is?
No.
Well, I need to ask this respectfully. How many other possibilities are there? Do you remember? Gotta be honest with yourself at some point. You can't keep bringing children in the world with lies and paternity issues hanging over their head.
The issue here is rather complicated. You see, Taylor Holthouse had a sexual relationship with her mother's boyfriend, Mr. Chenault. And now, she is at the court to prove that Mr. Chenault, and not the other man she had a similar sexual relationship with, who, by the way, doesn't even want the child, is the father of 3-month-old Zayden. The problem is, Mr. Chenault is denying paternity.
Mr. Chenault, you are Miss Holthouse's mother's boyfriend.
Yes, Your Honor.
Though you admit you were intimate with your girlfriend's daughter, you say you strongly doubt you fathered her child.
Yes, Your Honor.
So Miss Holthouse's mother is waiting outside the courtroom, and I'm sure she'll have a thing or two to add to this case as well. We'll meet her in a moment. So Mr. Chenault, how did you end up in a sexual relationship with your girlfriend's daughter?
It started out as a text message, Your Honor. I received it wasn't supposed to come to me, and a word was misspelled. It was a word. A few days later, she had on a tight clothing.
I must say, I'm disgusted by Chenault's dirty behavior, and it just kept getting worse as he displayed his shameless thoughts. This whole thing between Chenault and Taylor went on for about 6 months, after which Taylor's mom, Christine Bogardus, found out about their illicit relationship. But how did this secret get revealed to Christine? Let's find out.
She had kind of manipulated both of us, saying that I told her about what we did and I never said anything, and she said that he told her about what we did and he never said anything.
And who confessed?
Actually, I confessed.
You did?
Yes, ma'am.
Were you also still sleeping with her mother during that time?
Yes.
Now you know that's just nasty.
Yes, Your Honor.
Miss Holthouse, how were you sneaking around behind your mother's back with her boyfriend? What were you doing?
Unbelievable. Now, during all of these sneaky link-ups, Christine had caught Chenault with her daughter, but not while they were engaged in the act. So, at the time, she didn't break things off with Chenault. At best, she was angry with him for a few days. Meanwhile, Taylor found out that she was pregnant, but at the time, she was not sure who the father was.
When you find out you're pregnant, whose child do you think it is?
At the moment, it could have been 2 guys.
Which 2?
Mr. Chenault and another guy. And I had to sneak out and go tell Mr. Chenault that it could be his, maybe.
You were honest.
Yes, Your Honor.
So, Mr. Chenault, I'm guessing at this point, hoping she throws you out at this point.
Actually, Your Honor, no.
That just sounds very ridiculous. When the whole situation started getting wilder, the judge had to bring in Taylor's mom, Christine. In the courtroom, Christine narrates how she started to suspect that something illicit was going on between her daughter and Shinold, and how long she had known this nasty man. Here is what she had to say.
At the same time, he was in a sexual relationship with you.
Yes.
Did they deny it at first?
Yes.
But your intuition told you something was going on.
Right, because my daughter was acting funny.
What was she acting like?
If I was sitting on the couch next to Mr. Chenault and I would get up to go to the bathroom, she would get up out of the chair across the room to sit by him.
Oh, no, she didn't. Now, you have a 10-month-old child by Mr. Chenault.
Yes.
And you may have a 3-month-old grandchild who's also your child's half-sibling.
Would you imagine that? Chenault's nasty shamelessness really knows no bounds. This is already a difficult situation. On top of that, they were all still cohabiting. Oh my God. At the same time, the judge still has more questions for Chenault and Taylor. However, after hearing their responses and seeing their body language, she concluded that they had to use a lie detector.
See, we deal in scientific evidence here. So I want to know if both of you say you're not sleeping together anymore and haven't slept together since September. We have access and we can take a lie detector test. It sure would calm your wife-to-be's fears if you pass that, and maybe this relationship could move forward like you want it to. Are we willing to consent to the lie detector test on the question of whether or not you all are still sleeping together?
The fact that these two are most likely still having sexual intimacy with each other even at this juncture is unbelievable. Anyway, the DNA test has been done, and the result of whether Chenault is the father of Taylor's 3-month-old baby will be out any moment now. At this point, nobody can be as tense about the result as Christine. But let's find out what it says.
Mr. Chenault, it has been determined by this court. You are not his father.
Thank you, Your Honor.
I can hear you breathe a sigh of relief, Miss Bogardus.
Well, at least there is one less problem for their family to deal with. The only sad thing is that little Zayden might grow up without a father, seeing as Taylor claims that the other guy doesn't want to take responsibility for Zayden if he ends up being the baby daddy. So, 20-year-old Taylor is left to bring up her child alone. However, this family needs counseling, as Christine said.
I do think that we all need counseling.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up. Miss Holehouse, what are you gonna do? 20 years old.
I don't know, just try my hardest just to do what I can for him.
Her mother and I will try to help her.
Can you help her and keep your hands off of her, though? Because I don't believe it. I don't believe it not one bit. If you looked up lie in the dictionary, your picture is next to it.
In this episode of Paternity Court, Shelbert Barlow brings his wife, Tanya Winslow, to court, claiming that he is not the father of 20-month-old Jibril. In fact, he goes ahead and says that he is certain of who the father is, thereby accusing Tanya of infidelity. Now, where things take a turn is that Barlow actually has an extended case of infidelity, something he admits himself.
Hear something?
Nah, while I was away, I would call all the time because I got a long past of infidelity. I got a long history of infidelity.
A very
And
long
so-
history.
And so I left. When I went away, she said pay back some
Okay,
straight late.
let's
Your
use
Honor,
appropriate
That's
first
language.
of
exactly
all,
what she
I
said.
never stated that, Your Honor.
So
he comes
now
up with
I go away.
I've never stated that.
And while I'm away, I'm calling and stuff. She says, yo, you calling me? He here. Call me
Your
back.
Honor, the landlord was there
And
at the
I'm-
house.
You're
because
saying when
he
you would call, the landlord would be there and she'd tell you to call back?
Yeah.
He was doing his landlord
So
responsibility.
why hang up on me when I'm paying for the phone
Because
call?
he need my undivided attention to see what's going on with the house.
I really don't think that is solid proof that your wife is cheating, but let's keep going. Barlow added that he would call home by 10 p.m. and the landlord would be at his wife's house. While that seems really suspicious of Tanya, she claims that the landlord does not have contractors and does all of the repairs in the building. But there is more. Here, take a look.
Okay, now, when I'm in the house, I'm pregnant with Mr. Barlow's baby. I can't put bunk beds together. I can't put these entertainment center together. So yeah, if Mr. Barlow is absent and he can't do it, who else is gonna do it?
Okay, listen, this man running a business. Now, you gotta pay me $2,500 for rent, right? For what reason do I say, okay, you ain't got it, just give me $300.
This is what happened. When I moved into this apartment building,
man,
I had got duped by a crooked person. The landlord that I was supposed to move into a house in, I paid him $2,000. Okay, what I went to do is get my lights cut on, and they told me that the place that I was trying to rent wasn't even rentable.
That's a lot. The tension keeps getting worse, and each time Barlow presents an accusation, Tanya is quick to counter, providing plausible explanations for the events. The situation becomes so convoluted that it's difficult to determine whether Tanya was truly unfaithful. At some point, it even starts to look like Barlow had severe trust issues. I mean, take a look at this.
He calls to try to see if he can hear noise in the background. I'm at home with 3 boys. I don't have time for him to hear let me hear who's in the background. Be quiet. Let me see what's going on.
Not dealing with.
That's his own insecurities because of his past and all the cheating he has done on me. He expected because I haven't cheated on him. You know what the real problem is, Your Honor? Mr. Barlow didn't know what the landlord looked like, so when he finally saw the landlord, he was like, oh, I thought the landlord was old. When he found out he was around our age, that's when his insecurities came in.
Yep, a nice landlord, who is clearly doing all of your daddy duties, Barlow. Did I mention that Barlow was barely home? Yeah, and now that he knows what it is to cheat on someone, he is being extra watchful of Tanya. So far, Barlow hasn't been able to successfully prove that Jabril is not his. While he reiterates that Jabril does not look like him, Tanya drops a shocking bomb.
He doesn't look like me or Mr. Barlow. So now that leads me to believe the only way that this baby is not this man's child is if he's not mine. I believe something happened at the hospital, and it would devastate me, Your Honor. I have a strong connection with my son. Now, if this boy isn't my son, that means not only do I have to find out who he actually belongs to, but then I have to find out where my biological child is.
This is a first in this courtroom.
Now that is an unbelievable turn of events. Tanya's statement and research shocked the judge so much that she had to adjourn the court for some time. It is common to hear fathers question the paternity of their children, but for a woman to say that she also doubts her child is hers, that's wild. Anyway, the judge, after making her findings, resumed court to say this.
We're back in session in the case of Barlow versus Winslow. You've claimed this child could have been switched at birth.
Yes, Your Honor.
So I needed to go back to my chambers. I needed to do some research. I needed to look through the results. I had to find the maternity portion of the results so that I could confirm whether or not you are, in fact, Jabril's mother. These results state that the probability of maternity is 99.9999%. You, Ms. Winslow, are Jabril's mother.
Thankfully, that turned out well. Otherwise, the show might just change from paternity court to maternity court. So, back to Barlow. He goes on and on about how Tanya was just giving excuses. He even claims that since the landlord is Colombian, Jabril is the landlord's son because of his skin color. However, Tanya is just hurt by all of this as she recounts all that Barlow has put her through.
I have never cheated on this man. I've been with this man for 11 years, off and on. Throughout the whole time I've been with him, he have not only had twins on me, but triplets as well. So it's not like it's just like a little simple thing like he hasn't done anything to me. He has done the most. Yes, as a woman, I stand here with my backbone, and I've accepted all of his wrongdoing. And I still love him to death, to the bottom of my heart. So why would I wait till he's in...
Excuses are best for those who use them. You understand what I'm saying?
Mr. Barlow, you're serious. You believe this landlord has a little bit too much of a presence in your life.
This man is getting too cocky for someone who was never even present for his wife and kids. He never even attempted to help her pay the rent money, which he keeps saying she was able to evade due to her suspected illicit relationship with the landlord. At this point, even the judge is tired of all this and proceeds to reveal the DNA test. Curious to find out the result? Here you go.
Mr. Barlow, you are the father.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Your Honor.
So, the bottom line is you are the mother and you are the father. And ultimately, you two have got to get past all of this that you've brought upon yourselves. Because sometimes when you live in confusion, you can't grow, you can't build. But a child needs to grow up in a family.